Welcome to Ask and Learn.
Question: we are asked to show that if R1 and R2 are equivalent relations on the set A and P1 and P2 are their respective partitions, we have to show that R1 is a subset of R2 if and only if P1 is a refinement of P2. Being a subset here, we view the relation as a set of ordered pair, right? And so it means any pair exists in R1 will also exist in R2. And refinement means that if we think of partition as a collection of sets, I will call them A1 to AN and B1 to BM. It means that if we choose any set from the first partition, the set AI, it will be subset of some set in the second partition. That's what refinement means. And it's if and only if statement, so we have to prove both way. So let's go. First implication, we have to suppose that R1 is subset of R2 first, right? And we want to show that the partition is a refinement of another. So we will label the set that made up partition like this, A1 to AN and B1 to BM. So let's consider some AI in the partition P1. Since it is a part of a partition is not empty. So there is element X in this set, right? And since it's a partition of A, it means X is itself element of A. That means there exists some Bj in the second partition that X is inside that. Why? Because P2 is also a partition of A. So anything in A must exist in P2 somewhere. Okay, we will call that Pj. And from this, if we look at any other element y in the set AI that we start with, since x and y are in the same set in a partition, or that is the same equivalent class, that means x and y are related under R1, right? But by our assumption, x and y must also be in R2 as well, because R1 is a subset of R2. When we have this, it means that y must also be in the same equivalent class as x under R2. And that equivalent class is the Bj that we just mentioned before. So we start with some AI as a set in the partition P1, and we show that any element in that set will also be in some Bj in the second partition. That means Xi is a subset of Bj. And this is true for any AI that we start with. So in the end, we have that P1 is a refinement of P2. All right, so the first implication is clear. Next, another direction. So we suppose P1 is refinement of P2. Now let's consider any pair in the relation R1. Since x and y are related, they are in the same equivalent class, which is essentially some AI in the first partition. Okay, but since it is requirement of P2, it means x and y here are also in some set Bj as well, because we must have AI as a subset of some Bj. So we look at that Bj, x and y are in the same equivalent class. under R2, so they are related. That is what we get. And so we start with this, we end up with this. It means that any pair in R1 must be in R2. So R1 is a subset of R2. And so we have proven both direction. So we have proven the if and only if statement. And that is it for this video. Thank you.